I'm not angry, I lie. Yes, you are, the voice behind me states simply. I'm not angry, I say, with the thief's own honesty. Cap, you're clearly... All right, fine. I'm not angry. I'm furious. I'm livid, irate, incensed. Taylor's language has so many words for different shades of anger, from miffed to apoplectic. It's worth embarrassing myself with the way my beak mangles them to get the point across. I take a deep inhale of the oxygen-rich atmosphere, maintained in this dawn for Terran comfort, and watch the stars slowly parallax past each other out of the window. Cap, I really didn't know. When I picked her up, she was wild. I thought she was gaining weight because she had access to all the food she wanted. I tried having her do more exercise. I thought about putting her on a diet. I'm glad I'm such a weak will when it comes to those sad eyes. It probably would have been bad for them if I put my foot down. I wheel around, my face screwed up in rage. The 5 humans, Don and Sahas, all turned down their faces in shame. I'm not angry that you brought an Ateskian merc beast onto my ship, with a litter in her belly, Taylor. I'm not angry that you misread the signals of pregnancy. I'm not even angry that you got yourself injured by her. Whatever I used to think, and however it may sometimes seem to me, I've seen enough of your stupid decisions and blind spots to know that humans aren't clairvoyant. I'm at peace with that. Taylor. I moved toward the man, with his right arm bruised and slashed, now attempting to convey my hurt with every gesture of myself. I'm angry that you kept it secret. You didn't trust me with this? 10 diurnals. What did you think would happen? You thought you could smuggle them off the ship somewhere without anyone noticing? Then what? Suitably ashamed, he answers, Cap, I'm sorry, I didn't know what to do. We talked about it a lot. 8 of them's a breeding population, that's a crime. Doesn't matter that they're siblings. We decided it was better if you had plausible deniability. I really didn't do this because I didn't trust you. I sigh, and flick my crown plumes. So, why are you compromising my plausible deniability now? And what made her injure you? Well, to the second, she seems to have undergone behaviour changes. We haven't been able to do the cuddle puddle since she delivered. She growls at us when we go in that room. He looks around at the rest of the Triple M's. We wanted to know what was up, so these guys convinced me to get her a translator and ask. She was snarling at me as I approached. I only just got it on her before she gashed me. To the first, is what she said. He trails off here. I chit and ask, Damn it, Taylor. Don't make me drag it out of you. What did she say? Still hesitating, he answers, I think she said she'll only talk to you. I close my eyes to process that. It takes some time. Eventually I ask, Where is the uncertainty? What exactly did she say? Victor gives a mirthless smile and says, Well, she asked for the feather grandmother. I can't think of many contenders. Massaging my temples with my wing claws, I try to work out anything. Eventually I settle on asking, I don't suppose she gave any indication of what she wanted to speak to this feather grandmother about, did she? He closes his eyes and shakes his head. No, she definitely wasn't in the mood to talk, so I left and commed you. I consider, then respond. So, do you have any ideas for questions you want me to ask her? Taylor indicates to Zamberi, who starts, We'd like to know if she knows how long the merc pups... He's cut off by McLeod. Or merc kittens, or merklets. Consensus not yet reached. He continues, Yes, thank you, Mouse. Anyways, we'd like you to ask if she knows how long they need to suckle before they can be weaned, and if she understands what has caused her behaviour change, and how long that will last. We'd also like to know if she forms a pack unit with them after that, or if merc beasts are solitary. The literature seems to suggest solitary behaviour, but it's difficult to be certain, given how impossible it was to study them up close until recently. Finally, we'd like to know what she wants to do. Confused, I ask, What do you mean, what she wants to do? What might she do? So Berry looks at Taylor, whose face is a mask of anguish, before turning back to me and responding, GU law forbids breedable populations of death world predators being removed from their planet of origin together. One merc beast is legal as a slave sample, or pet, but if we keep her young, we'd be breaking the law. So, realistically, she has 2 options, or actually, I suppose, 2 decisions to make. Where does she want us to take them, and... Another glance at Taylor and his watery green eyes. Does she want to leave with them? I look at Taylor, my anger melting away. Victor. It's fine, Cap, he lies. I love her, lots. But if she wants to go, I won't force her to stay. I won't ask her to choose me over her babies. He clears his throat. I'm guessing it's an attempt to keep his voice from cracking. Major Sis has got some contacts in, what was it? Death Wild faunal taming and domestication research, or we return him and possibly her to Eteskia free. Those are the options. If we give them to my sister's colleagues, then they will be given to volunteers to see how they take to life as pets. These will be people who will have been thoroughly, personally vetted to make sure they will be loving providers. If they take to domestication as well as Fluffy did, until recently, then their genes can be sampled, recombinated, and variated to be able to produce new domestic merbeasts and can then legally be distributed to those licensed to have them. Or we release them onto their cradle world. Or I suppose you can get an eye patch and peg leg, and we all become pirates. That joke catches me off guard and I laugh. After thinking a moment, I resolve myself and say, Taylor, get yourself to the medical room. Get that wound seen to. What? Cap, it ain't that bad. Gatto's going to try and convince me to get my scars regened. He always does. That is an order, Taylor. I will not have Terran wounds festering with Terran germs on my ship, no matter how many decontamination fields are permanently active to keep you walking plague pits from infecting us. Also, to be frank, I agree with Dr. Gatto. I know you think of your scars as sort of trophies, but... He shakes his head. Not trophies, Cap. Lessons. I resign myself to never fully understanding Terrans for the 5 millionth time. Be that as it may, you are to have that wound treated. I don't care how much you have to argue with Dr. Gatto about the merits of retaining scar tissue. Maybe you'll get one of the shrings. I'm sure they'll be delighted to hear your philosophy on scars as lessons. I have a third granddaughter to counsel, apparently, so I shan't be accompanying you. Zumberry, could you go with Taylor? Make sure he doesn't faint on the way. Zumberry doesn't get to answer as Taylor says, Wait, you're going now? I nod. Now is the moment. If I have to turn the ship around and start heading back to Eteskia free, I prefer to know sooner than later. Then I should go with you, he says insistently. No, you shouldn't. She's made it quite clear that she doesn't want to see you right now. I gesture at his wound. And I'm quite sure that even you wouldn't be able to do anything in the 0.2 seconds it would take her to squash me flat if she wanted to. Whatever these behavioural changes are, I've seen enough of her to know that she wouldn't ask me to do me harm. I'll go in alone. I'll state, with more confidence than I feel. He's still unconvinced, so I concede. Aran and Toon can wait outside the door. If I need help, they can be in there as fast as lightning. Do you trust them to keep me as safe as you could? Taylor looks at his subordinates before saying, I trust them completely. Guess I'll see myself to the medical room. Or Mage will see you to the medical room. Is that alright, Mage? Zumberry smiles. Of course, my friend. And, after only a moment's more hesitation, the two men leave side by side. My heart sinks slightly at the task before me. Turning to my SO and ASO, I say, Shall we? Tawan and Hasaka stand as well. Well, Hasaka stands less and more raises her upper portion from her coiled tail to put her head at about the height of Tawan. They take each other's hands. Welcome too. I know I'm a cook and she's a prison guard, but if Fluffy needs to be held back, it might take more than two, says Tawan, his father nodding at his side. Interesting how much faster than most she's picked up Terra mannerisms. Is that because she's sharing the living space, or because she's a rough welder? With a mirthful exhale, I say, if you two want to race next subcycle, I might be amenable. They laugh. We head out of the common room and down the hall to where Sam stands guard outside Taylor's door. He'll want to smell you, Captain, says Aran. He's been smelling all of us when we take our turn on guard. He's checking that we are ourselves and we don't smell like hostility. My mind boggles at the fact that Terran canines have the ability to detect the odour of hostility, the intelligence/wariness to use that ability on trusted friends, and the fact that Terrans ever domesticated an animal like that. Why exactly did you take up guardships outside the room of an aggressive merbeast mother? Isn't she her own guard? Aran chuckles. We weren't really guarding her, we were guarding anyone who might be stupid enough to blunder into Triple M and start opening doors from her. That defo caution. As I approach, Sam splays his front legs in a posture of readiness. I'm reminded that, as much as he is a loving, friendly, sweet creature, He's every bit as much of a death or predator as the one in the room he's guarding. I extend my wing to his nose and he sniffs it. "Happy smelling," he proclaims, satisfied and incorrect. I'm definitely not happy, but I'm guessing that was him given the all clear. "Thank you, Sam," I say, before turning to the door and gesturing for it to open. I walk into the half-lit room and see a giant mass of infrared, curled into a crescent, with 8 much smaller masses nestled into it. Rendered into a quali, a husky voice addresses me. "Not changing horizon." My translator is not able to give me a clarification on the word, that it is flagged as being inexact. I have to think. Of course, she's from an eyeball world. She lived her entire life in the narrow band between deathly cold night and scorching hot day before being adopted. Venturing in the direction of one horizon would increase the brightness, the other would decrease it. She's asking me not to change the lighting. "I won't, Fluffy. I'm told you asked for me," I say, cautiously approaching her head. "Yes, not danger being, but respecting. Safe talking both." Confused, I ask, "Both?" She clarifies. "You not danger. Can't harming babies even if wanting. You not danger being. Not overcome being me. Safe being both." Another unclarified inexactitude. I think. Instinct? Some sort of instinct of parental protectiveness? "Fluffy, can you control yourself when you are overcome?" She chops in seeming irritation. "No. That what overcome meaning?" I did not expect to receive a semantics lesson from a semi-sapient when I woke up this morning. "You said you respected me. Taylor, your daddy tells me you called me grandmother." "Yes. Feather grandmother so weak strong. I'm going to get a headache with all the discernment I'm being forced to do." "Weak strong? You mean my body is weak, but you think I'm strong in other ways? Is this another example of a Death Order perceiving me to have the spirit of a Death Order?" She shakes her head. Terra mannerisms are so mimetic that they even spread to semi-sapients. "Not thinking, knowing, seeing, brave being. Only weak seen since living in Star Cave. Accepting weak cute for licking." I laugh. "You know, you really scared Antonio. He thought you were sampling him. He was certain that the last thing he would ever see was the inside of your mouth." She gives a deep laughing purr growl. "Sorry being. Too cute. Needing licking. Overcome." I step forward and cautiously place my wing claws on either side of her nose. At this distance, there'll be nothing the Triple M's can do. I really hope my trust is well placed. "Fluffy, I know you think I'm a grandmother, but the truth is, I'm not even a mother yet, though I will be soon. If you're looking for advice on motherhood, I can't give you the benefit of any experience." She shakes her head, again, and the raw power of her body is made evident through my wings. I'm almost pulled off my feet. "Not true. Daddy's mother been. Also aunties and uncles' mother been. Them not knowing long, already trusting you, already loving you. You wanting happy for them. You getting angry when we stupid being. Kin child not having, but mother being. And grandmother to me and small cousin. My kin lonely been. Not understanding loving and kind until daddy and grandmother meeting." Another thing I didn't expect to be told today. I'm touched. "Alright, Fluffy. We have a lot to talk about. Why don't we start with your questions for me, then? Your daddy, aunties and uncles have some that they want me to ask you?" Later. I walk through the door to the medical room. Dr. Gatto is sat at his desk, seemingly perusing medical files of the crew. "If you're looking for that scarred wonder with his latest addition, he is in the last bed. The shings are seen to him. I'm certain he'll be more scarred than man by the time he's a couple of centuries old, if he survives that long," he says, without looking up. "Thank you, Gatto," I say warmly. It might not sound like it, but that was about as cordial an address as he ever usually gives. For him, that was the equivalent of a friendly greeting. It used to bother me. It doesn't anymore, for some reason. I round the corner and see the line of empty ward beds. The one designed for Terrans is occupied. Beside it stands Zamberi, and next to him, Doctors Xing, Nan, and Nu, the Terran specialists I hired the last time we stopped for repairs. It was Zamberi who located them. I wonder if his recruitment method was similar to what I now know Dwan's to have been for Hasaka. He has been visiting their private living quarters in the off times for scans and interviews a lot. Wait, stop. That's not my business unless they choose to tell me. I can't be filling my head with speculation about potential gossip, no matter how juicy that gossip would be. I draw closer and can see that Taylor is shirtless, his wound is healed, and he is animatedly explaining the origin of his many scars that he is keeping as mementos of, seemingly the times he failed. The 1.4 meter Fulgensians are listening with rapt attention, their very red and white tails twitching in reaction to the story. It's so fortunate that we managed to find 2 doctors with such an experience and passion for Terran so far from Terran space. I draw close and say, "Excuse me, Dr. Xing?" a little above my normal volume to catch their attention. They both jump. Zamberi turns his head in surprise but gives no indication that he feels at all disconcerted. Taylor smiles and says, "Hey, Cap." Of course he noticed me approach, but managed to keep from making that apparent. "Captain, it's a pleasure to see you. What can we do for you?" asks Snow in her throaty voice. It's so nice to barely have to look up in order to address Fulgensians. I think I may have a mild repetitive strain injury from spending so much time conversing with non-Requali who tower over me. I was wondering if you might excuse us. I have some things I need to discuss with my CSS. Dr. Xing look at each other before Nam responds, "Of course, Captain," in his high, comely voice. Zamberi, you can stay if you want, or you can have it from Taylor later and go back to Triple M or with Dr. Xing for one of your sessions. He smiles and says, "I'm sure colours will fill me in. I'll go with Nan and Nu. Thank you, Captain." I watch as the 3 of them walk away. Zamberi puts an arm around the shoulder of each string and pulls their shoulders to rest against his hips. Gossip confirmed. Not that I'll bring it up. Once the 3 of them are gone, I turn to Taylor. "So, what did she say, Cap?" he asks, with quiet, pleading desperation. I respond, "Well, bearing in mind that she's only got about as much articulation as Sam, and I don't have a Terran's praenaternal ability to almost always produce the correct inference." He chuckles. "I think she told me that she's extremely sorry for hurting you. It seems that motherhood has induced an uncontrollable protective instinct in her, and she can't control herself from lashing out at beings she perceives could harm her young. She asks of me because, evidently, her subconscious doesn't perceive me as a potential threat." I pause here, but he doesn't interrupt. Just keeps fixing those baleful green eyes on me, begging me to continue. "She doesn't know how long she needs to suckle them, or how long her instincts will be in overdrive. She doesn't really have the same concept of time as you or I do, with no day and night cycle on her cradle world, and she had nothing to measure it by. She seems to have developed a time measuring system based on Daddy Sleeps since coming aboard the Starcade, but she's also a first-time mother, and she confirmed that her species is solitary. She has no inclination on how many Daddy Sleeps it would be, as she has no memory of her own mother, nor familiarity of other Merc beasts' postnatal experience." And, Cap, what did she say about... His eyes now overflow and tears stream down his cheeks. "She has agreed to give them to Zamberi's sister. She says that her instincts tell her that they won't be able to cohabit for long with each other, and that them being given loving homes, like you've given her, would make her the happiest. I'm on my way to plot a course to Zanzibar Mapaya after this." He closes his eyes and smiles through his still streaming tears, leaning his head back against his pillow. "Thank you, Cap. And, fuck, I'm sorry. That'll take us weeks out of our way. I'm really edging you closer and closer to the Reds, aren't I?" "Actually, Victor, I might need to return the ship to Terran space anyway. This might just be killing 2 birds with 1 stone, as you Terrans so brutally put it." I laugh as he winces apologetically for the unfortunate phrasing of the idiom from his language. Interesting that he's apologetic, given the bird here was the one who said it. He frowns and opens his eyes. "Where would we have to go to Terran space? I heard nothing about this." "Ah, well, that would be because I was already on my way down to Triple M to tell you about it, and ask why I had barely seen any of you for the last 10 diurnals, when I got your comm." He winces. "Sorry again." "There's someone we might need to pick up for a contract that you has just offered us. I'll tell you about it in the morning. Get some rest, either here or in Triple M. You looked haggard." Terrans are the only species, to my knowledge, who are capable of stressing to the extent that it visibly affects their health. "Alright, Cap. Me and Toon will just have to speculate all night about the nature of this contract," he says, getting up. He begins walking off, and I call out, "Victor." There's one more thing Fluffy wanted me to let you know. He stops and turns back to face me, his eyebrows raised. She wanted me to tell you that she loves you, and to thank you for sharing your home with her. His tears return.